What up, though? Getting straight off into it. You know what I'm saying? Here to talk about people, people's reactions and receptions to popular songs versus original songs. Right now, there has been. I study people's behavior, especially when it comes to music, because I've done it. I've radiated the energy to crowds, and they've given it right back to me because they saw that I was digging what I was doing, which made them dig it, and then they gave the energy right back and head nods, hand claps, finger snaps, and just groove into what we was doing. So it was like a constant exchange between us and the crowd, as though us as human beings, we give a flower carbon dioxide as we exhale. And they inhale carbon dioxide, they give us oxygen back. So it's a constant cycle of, things that we need. Plants need us, human beings, and we need plants. And I'm using that metaphor to say that the artist needs the crowd's energy, and the crowd needs the artist to provide the energy for them to give it back to us. So it's a constant cycle of exchange. Okay, it's a cycle of constant exchange of energy. All right. Now, use saying all of that to say that I've been saying for the past 20 to 25 years that people are not as receptive to new and original music as opposed to the reception that they give to remakes, covers, or songs with elements of old popular records, right? Now, we can go back, let's go back to the 70s and 80s, right? Hip hop. I'm using hip hop. And this is just this whole thing applies to music as a whole. But notably, we're going to talk about hip hop because hip hop is really responsible for the resurgence and or the keeping the old artists relevant due to the hip hop artists or producers, I should say, and the DJs using older artists' records to make hip hop joints. You know what I'm saying? And I spoke about this in one of my previous videos, right? It started with the DJ. The DJs be at the jams and so forth, the parties and everything, and they playing records that they know that everybody is grooving to get them on the floor dancing and just keep a good vibe going. So, they'll play a popular record. Everybody's on the floor. But then when that break comes, the breakdown comes, which is the favorite part of the record, it drives people insane. And they go, wow, this is my part, this is my shit right here. Oh, and then the DJ figured it out and said, if I take two of these records and put them on the turntables and I just loop or backspun the breaks on these two turntables, I can really get people going because this is the favorite part of the record. Okay? So the DJ did that. And then the MC started rhyming. You got hip hop, just add water, right? Now, from the inception of that idea, to current times, today's popular music basically has, utilized that formula, okay? And most records that you listen to now are grooves. It's the same thing over and over again. It's like a loop. And that's the way music is made more so instead of like back in the 70s and some records in the 80s, and you still got them here and there, but they're not popular songs where you have a lot of orchestration, chord changes, vamps, breakdowns, and all of this here kind of stuff in them. It's usually the same groove throughout the whole song. You may have one change, maybe, but for the most part, people just keep the groove going, right? Which in turn, those records nowadays turn into popular records. Now, me saying this, I've been saying for the longest time, for the past 20 to 25 years, that real music is dead. And I always say, in the eye of the mainstream. Okay? The machine that pushes music and make records popular and so forth, they don't push or exploit regular records anymore, like songs with hella orchestration and breakdowns and all of that. They're pushing records to make them hits that are, easy to digest through the eardrum. That's why traditional jazz, hard bop jazz, and, that kind of stuff isn't popular anymore. The machine doesn't push that because through the indoctrination of the music that we've been exposed to for the past 40 years or better has basically been reduced to a small, simple, looped groove. Don't get me wrong. Grooves are cool. You know what I mean? But there are people out here like myself that's starving for more in terms of orchestration and composition and what have you. You understand? But the mass populace just wants the simple stuff, right? I remember being at, when I was in college, Central State University, they had the Cleveland Jazz Orchestra come down. And this was during a thing called Convocation. Dude gave his spiel, his speech, and all of this here. And then he said, now we're going to have the Cleveland Jazz Orchestra perform. And me being a fan of music, real music that is, throw up the air quotes, I was totally engulfed in what every instrument up there was doing, listening to the changes and the vamps and all of these here's the solos, the accompaniments, everything, right? But because it had so much going on, most of the people around me were not attentive to what was happening on stage. And I took that as a disrespect to the cats on stage. I wanted to tell everybody, man, shut the fuck up and listen to this beautiful magic that's happening on the stage right now. Do you see what's going on? Do you hear that? It was people talking during the performance. People was getting up and leaving. People was sleeping. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy to me. You know what I mean? But again, it's the indoctrination of how we have been conditioned to only accept the groove factor. Long as it's just a regular loop, no more than 4 bars. Anything after 4 is too much. And, 2 is kind of like right there, perfect. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm going to say again, real music is dead. And that's in the eye of the mainstream, the machine that exploits music and plays it to death and makes it a hit. Because once you hear something so many times, you may not like it. But then you find yourself humming it or whistling it or it gets stuck in your head and all of this here kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I dare any of y'all to prove me wrong. Simple and plain, right? Simple and fucking plain. And that's not too, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm saying what's real, right? Traditional jazz, hard bop jazz, things of that nature, those types of genres of music aren't popular anymore because it's too much. Too many changes, too many chords, too many solo phrases and what have you, and all of that in order to be digested by the eardrum and the minds of the people. Because again, we've been conditioned to only digest through the eardrum those 2 and 4 bar loops. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. It's crazy to me, man, that it's like that now. But you know, just like with anything else, just like these 2 and 4 bar loops and grooves and so forth have been implemented on our ears and minds and so forth. The hard bop traditional jazz with all of the real compositions and heavy concepts and all of this changes and what have you can be that thing again if exploited, you know. But leave your comments, like and subscribe and all of that. Leave your comments down here, right there, because I want to know what you got to say about it. And again, I'm up for the challenge. Prove me wrong if you think I am. Holla at your people.